All right, everyone, welcome to 4.1 Extra Practice. We're going to work through these together, okay? Slow things down a little bit from yesterday because I know I threw a lot of information at you. All right, we'll see how we can navigate through this. Construction. Builders use the king post truss, which is below, for the type of a simple structure. In this truss, triangle ABC is congruent to triangle ABD. List the congruent corresponding parts. Well, we need to list the angles and we need to list the sides that are congruent. Okay, so the first one is reflexive. These two triangles share side AB. AB is congruent to AB. Okay, this line right here. Then we have side AC, the long one, is congruent to side AD. Okay. Then we have CB being congruent, or BC being congruent to BD. Okay. Now, in terms of angles, we have angle C congruent to angle D. We have angle CAB congruent to angle DAB. Then we have angle CBA congruent to angle DBA. Okay. The attic frame truss above right, it's really in the bottom left, okay, provides an open space in the center for storage. In this truss, triangle EFG, well, here's EFG, is congruent to angle HIJ. What are the congruent parts? So again, we need to label the angles and the sides. The sides are easiest, okay? So let's start there. Let's try and match them up. E and H, G and J, and F and I. All right. So we'll say the side EG is congruent to HJ. We'll say EF is congruent to HI. And GF is congruent to JI. Okay, now angles can be a little bit trickier. We'll start with GEF. Notice GEF goes from blue, yellow, green. So blue, yellow, green on the right would be JHI. Okay. Then if we went yellow, blue, green, it would be angle EGF is congruent to yellow, blue, green is HJI. All right. Then we would need to go blue, green, yellow, GFE, sorry, is congruent to JIH. Okay. Triangle LMC is congruent to BJK. Okay, so let's line them up. L and B were listed first. M and J and C and K were listed last. All right, so LC, green to blue, is congruent to BK. Keep the colors in the right order. JB, from yellow to green, is congruent to MC. angle K is your blue angle. It's congruent to angle C. All right, triangle CML is congruent to triangle KJB. Triangle MLC, yellow, green, blue, is congruent to JBK. Notice how the order matters here. All right, then why don't you pause and try these on the other side. All right, next it says that suppose triangle WYS is congruent to triangle MKV. If the measure of angle W is 62 and the measure of angle Y is 35, what is the measure of angle V? Explain. So notice how I wrote to draw. Okay, draw it. Draw your triangles. Here's one. Let me see if I can paste it. And there's two. Okay, I'm going to label them. W, Y, S, and M, K, V. Notice I did it in the same order, right? They said angle W is 62. Angle Y is 35. What is the measure of angle V? Well, we know a few things already since they are congruent. Okay. Angle W is congruent to angle M, which means angle M must be 62. We also know angle Y is congruent to angle K, which means angle K is 35. We also know angle S is congruent to angle V, but we don't know what the measure is yet. Well, yesterday we said that all triangles add up to 180, right? So we have angle S plus 62 plus 35 equals 180. Angle S plus 62 and 35 makes 97, which equals 180. Subtract 97 on both sides, and angle S is equal to 83 degrees. Okay, so if angle S is 83 degrees, that means that angle V is also 83 degrees. Okay. All right, this time you have four-sided figures. Poly is congruent to side. List each of the following: 4 pairs of congruent sides, 4 pairs of congruent angles. So again, let's just say four-sided figure, right? And this time I'm going to use this one. Why not? All right, you could have drawn any four-sided figure. I'm just going to go with these. We have angle or shape figure poly, P-O-L-Y, and S-I-D-E. Notice how I kept them the same, right? P was first, so I put it in the bottom left. S was first, I put it in the bottom left. What are 4 pairs of congruent sides? Well, your first side, PO and SI, right? Then what do we got? OL and ID. LY, DE. Last, you got YP and ES. All right, 4 pairs of congruent angles. Well, that's going to be a little different. Okay, we have angle P congruent to angle S. I got angle O congruent to angle I. Angle L congruent to angle D. And we have angle Y congruent to angle E. Okay. At an archaeological site, the remains of 2 ancient step pyramids are congruent. If ABCD is congruent to EFGH, find each of the following. Okay, so AD is going to be equal to what? That's going to be equal to EH. The measure of angle GHE. Well, here's GHE, right, is congruent to angle CDA. Okay, now we have EF being congruent to AB. Then we have DCB being congruent to HGF. Okay. All right, so why don't you guys try these 4 on your own, and I'll check your answers when you submit, and we'll move on to the last. Can you conclude that the triangles are congruent? Remember, congruent triangles have equal sides and equal angle measures, okay? So triangle TRK and triangle TUK. Well, let's see what they have here for us. They have, in terms of sides, RT is congruent to UT. What else do they got? They got angle RK is congruent to angle UK. RK is congruent to side UK, not angle UK. Last, we have this line here. It's shared by both triangles, so we're going to set it congruent to itself. Side TK is congruent to TK. Remember, that's called reflexive property. Now I'm going to look at my angles. Angle R is congruent to angle U. Angle RTK is congruent to angle UTK. All right, and then we know if we have 2 congruent angles, the third must be congruent. So angle RKT is congruent to angle UKT. Right, and that's the third angle theorem. Okay, so yes, we're going to say angle triangle TRK is congruent to triangle TUK. They are congruent. Now, if you look at the bottom figure, we have 5, 6, and 7 as side lengths, and we have 4, 7, and 8 as side lengths, and then we have no angles identified right? So we can say that these are not congruent. We cannot conclude because there are no equal sides and no known angles. All right. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to complete those portions that I did not complete within the video. All right. And I look forward to checking your work when you